My research question is simple. What is the most effective way to sharpen hockey skates? It has been a question that I have wanted to know for some time, as I have been a skate sharpener the last couple years at Play It Again Sports and Fitness in Sarnia. There are many different variables to sharpening hockey skates. For instance, the steel that is on the actual skate, the skate sharpener, the methods that the sharpeners use, and the preference of the actual skater. What I wanted to uncover in this Genius Hour activity was what the most effective way to sharpen a pair of skates would be. In order to better understand what I was researching, I looked for articles, periodicals, and YouTube videos to explain what an edge was. An edge, based on the definition, is if you've ever looked closely at the bottom of your skates, you've noticed that each blade has not one edge, like a knife or an axe, but rather two, connected by a hollowed out region in between. This shape is created by passing the blade along a grinding wheel. The grinding wheel was the wheel that you saw Ryan in the previous video using to sharpen his skate. What this does is it creates that hollowed out region, which allows for skaters to turn left and right when they are skating. Also, as part of my research, I wanted to look at YouTube videos. Seen here is the screenshot of my first Genius Hour reflection post on my Google Blogger, where Scott Scooter Jess shows what he believes is the proper technique to be a good skate sharpener. You can check out that video on my Google Blogger. What he does is very similar. As you can see there, based on the picture, he is using the grinding wheel that we use as well, which is the most common way to sharpen a pair of skates. What he did say, though, in his video was very important, as he stated that each individual skater comes to him with different needs, different concerns, and different types of skate sharpenings that he wants. He is the sharpener for a semi-pro team and has a lot of experience in his field, which allowed me to consider moving forward with that description in mind. After listening to Scooter's video, I wanted to look more into his theory that different skaters need different types of skate sharpenings to be better skaters. So, I got an opinion of Scotty Gray, who's a former skate sharpener at a sports store and has had his skates sharpened at 3 different sports stores in his life. What he stated here is that, as a goalie and a player, different radiuses, which is the amount of deep cuts into the blade, the hollow that we talked about previously, into his skates are important, because as a goalie, you do not want as much bite on your skates, but you're expected to move side to side very quickly. Scotty's perspective is also very important, as he noted throughout his career as a skate sharpener, if he asked the customer what kind of skate sharpen they wanted, 9 out of 10 would have no clue what he was asking. As I reflected on that and my personal experience, I realized as well that customers really do not have an idea what a hollow is, an edge is, and what types of skate sharpenings are available at individual sports stores. This device here is located on every sharpener and is very important for changing the radius that the skates are sharpened at. From here, I wanted to talk to individual customers to see if they had an understanding of what types of radius they use and explain why.
I like to get my skate sharpened at 3/8 just to dig into the ice a little more, and it's a little better than 1/2 inch, but you kind of slide a little more.
Based on what Mitch said, as a frequent customer, I can conclude a few different things. First, the fact that he said he wants a 3/8 skate sharpening is not as popular as a 1/2 inch skate sharpening, which would also be known as 4/8. This demonstrates how different skaters have different individual preferences for when they're skating, as Mitch said here, that he wants to dig more into the ice, which is very important for a skater like Mitch who does not want to slip on the ice. Another important perspective that I wanted to consider is a current skate sharpener at Play It Again Sports, seeing what the current trends are for skate sharpening, how many people sharpen their skates at a 1/2 inch radius, and what the other alternatives are that customers seem to do.
Definitely a half, most people I'd say 90% are looking at a half. Goalie skates, we're looking at usually an inch, a little bit younger than the half. But a half for a player is not too sharp, not too dull. Perfect.
After listening to Ryan, there are a couple conclusions that I can make. First, we now learn that most people get a 1/2 inch sharpen, which is described as either 1/2 or 4/8. Goalies usually get a 1 inch sharpen, which allows us to conclude that the standards for a sharpen are set at 1/2 inch and 1 inch at Play It Again Sports. But the question remains, why is this the case? We saw in the previous video that Mitch got his skate sharpened at 3/8, but Ryan said that 90% of people get their skate sharpened at 1/2 inch. What would make more people get their skate sharpened at a different radius if they are a different type of skater? What I found next was that the Rosota skate sharpeners concluded that there's no right or wrong radius, it just comes down to what's your skating style. This is very important, as my research question asked what was the most effective type of skate sharpening, but the answer is that it really comes down to the player, and that no particular method used by a skate sharpener can change the fact that different skate sharpens and different radiuses can have an instrumental effect on the type of sharpen and performance that a player has. What is important, though, is curbing the knowledge of people who do not have an understanding of what types of skate sharpenings would fit their style, which would produce a better awareness of what types of skate sharpenings fit each individual skater. The interesting story in my research that I found is that Jerome McGinley, who's a future NHL Hall of Famer, did not know the radius that he sharpens his skates at. So when he went to a recreational skate sharpening shop, he said he had no clue what type of skate sharpening he needed because his trainer does it. Based on the research that I've conducted thus far and the conclusions that I've made, I wanted to get some more data to strengthen my understanding of how much people really know about their skate sharpenings. To get this important data, I asked 12 hockey players who in the last 6 years have played travel hockey 4 very important questions that would help with my research. I did this within my 4th Genius Hour reflection, which you can see on my Google Blogger. The first question that I asked was, what type of skate sharpening do you ask for? Out of all the options, people could fill in if they had an additional option, but the most common one was, I don't ask for a particular sharpen. What's very important here is that the reason why I asked travel hockey players is that they traditionally would know more about their skates than someone recreationally skating or playing house league. The fact that they don't ask for a particular sharpen puts more onus on the skate sharpener and shows me that people really don't have an understanding of what skate sharpening they're getting. The next question I asked was, do you get your skates contoured? A skate contour is a service where the blade is cut for a specific skater's individual skating style, where a significant amount of blade will be cut off. What is interesting here is that only 25% of skaters get their skate contoured, which is a service that for a travel hockey player would be very beneficial. This once again brings up a very important question that my research has brought up. If more people knew what a contour was, would they get it done? The next question that I asked was, do you know what radius you sharpen your skates at? The fact that only 33% of skaters knew what radius they sharpen their skates at is very alarming, as that means that only 4 people know what radius they sharpen their skates at. The other 8 go into a skate sharpening shop and do not know what type of radius that they get, which means that they could be getting a better sharpen that suits their skating style, but they don't know to ask. Lastly, a big part of my research has allowed me to conclude that sharpeners should be explaining what types of skate sharpens are available to customers. As you can see by the results here, 83.3% of skate sharpening customers would appreciate if all the possible skate sharpens were presented to them. That is significant because that means that people are willing to learn but do not know that there are other skate sharpens that are available for them. This allowed me to conclude my research with the following message. As you can see, throughout this TED Talk, my opinion on what the most effective skate sharpening is has changed. First, I now believe that the most effective skate sharpening is one that suits each individual skater's skating style. What this means is that each individual skater needs to consider all the options available to them in order to make an informed decision about what skate sharpening needs to be put on their skates. In addition, skaters need to be aware of the available sharpens that are available to them. This means that they need to understand that there are options available for them because their skates can be catered to their specific needs and produce a better sharpen for them. Lastly, onus falls on the skate sharpeners as they need to learn what type of player each skater is and give suggestions for available sharpens. If these suggestions were put into place based on my answers that I have concluded today, I believe that more effective skate sharpenings would be produced for customers and better results would be put on the ice.